Hello and welcome. So yesterday there was a pretty big war. It was a free-to-play war. I think there were around 6 or more clans attending it. I know there were some really old clans like Damage Incorporated, which has been around for, it's been around on and off for quite a while. I think back in the day they had this rivalry against another clan. I think it was RSD, Runescape Dynasty. I think that was like back in the day where I really liked when clans had like this rival against another where if you joined this clan, this was your rival. Where it was just that, it was just a fun little competition like who would be better because you guys were for the most part evenly matched. But nowadays, if you have like clan rivals, it's probably gonna lead to like DDoSing to like maybe specific people like warlords or TeamSpeak servers, account hijacking on forums, or even spying on other clans, which I don't understand. Why does it have to resort to that? But that was the main reasons why I'm not really interested in clans anymore. I'm more interested in just like casual, like you PK with friends, and that's just what it is. It isn't a clan, it's just a group of friends, which is what I've been doing lately. Then the other clans were like Divine Fury was there, Violent Resolution, which I remember way back in the Bounty Hunter days. And I'm not really familiar with Pure Hatred or Collided Titans, but I think those were the 5 or 6 clans that I saw that were there. So it's been a long while since I've actually seen this many people in the wilderness. Although I think like this being a free to play war makes it a whole lot more populated because it makes it a whole lot easier to loot. Where if it was a pay to play war, it'd just be barrages everywhere and it'd be kind of hard to loot because of just how easy it is to kill people. Whereas in free to play, it's a whole lot harder to kill people because you can't just 1-2 shot them. They could just run away, and if you're already low energy, you're not gonna catch up. Also, since free to play has pretty low requirements, there's like 40 defense for rune, there's like 59 magic for fire blast, and adamant arrows. Well, I guess range and melee scales up per level, but then for magic it stops at level 59, so that's already pretty low requirements. Whereas pay to play has a lot higher requirements. There's like 70 range, there's 94 magic for ice barrage, which is really useful for multi PK. So, since like earlier, how I said, I'm not really into the whole clan thing because of pretty much all the drama and negativity in it. I'm not really into that anymore. It's more of just PKing with friends since I'm not with any of the major clans there. I ended up just looting. I didn't go and. I mean, there was this team where the friends I'm with, they had this little team running where they just sniped off people and that was fine. But then if I went with the whole snipe unit, which is actually pretty fun to do in pay to play wars, but then free to play wars you need more coordination because the thing about free to play versus pay to play is in free to play it's a lot more focused on single target because of just how easy it is to get away, and in pay to play you got spec weapons. It's a whole lot easier to kill people, so people are less inclined to focus on a single target. But also, if I joined the snipe unit, I wouldn't be able to follow clan piles, like follow the action of when people getting dropped. And there were actually quite a few people who tanked like, oh man, there must have been at least 20 people realistically on some people, and they just tanked it all the way from like graders all the way to Newgate and actually still make it out alive. But think about it, like what if you were at the war, there were no looters, and you just happened to pick up every rune item there? Just imagine how much rune sets were dropped and how many looters were there. And actually I remember back when I used to be a part of this, I used to bring alks. I used to bring alks to alk the rune drops that I got because for the most part you're not really allowed to leave the battle arena, and I was kind of okay with that rule way back then because I already had a decent amount of cash, so it didn't matter. And there was this one fight where I ended up with close to, I think my record was around 500 to 600k in just alks, but that was a while ago. So a few things I did while I was looting was I didn't only follow one pile. I followed like 3 or 4, which is probably the better way to do it because usually the first pile everybody's gonna see that person die. Then they usually just stand there and that's it. And oh, if you didn't know, when a person dies, their loot shows up to whoever killed them for 60 seconds. After that 60 seconds, everybody gets to see it. and then after another 60 seconds, it just disappears. Between that 60 seconds, that's usually the time where I look for more kills, and I usually place, like, I drop something, like something noticeable, like maybe pizza or a pink skirt on the ground, so I know where the drops are, and I take note of the time, so I have my computer clock open, and I take down the seconds, which is what I'm typing into the chat, and after 60 seconds the loot shows up, which sometimes it doesn't, because I think there was so many adamant arrows that it may have just started deleting items, because there's a cap of how many items can be on a specific spot. And after it reaches that amount, it starts deleting items, which sometimes even though I know that person died there, after a minute it doesn't show up, which that could probably explain it. But so I usually keep track of multiple drops, because first one, of course, you're not probably, if there's a level 3 under there, you're probably not going to get it, because he gets the first click, he's probably going to get the rune plate, which is why I usually went for like the rune helm, rune scimitars, rune kite shields if I can, and that's usually how it went. So usually the 60 seconds right after somebody dies, I look for more kills, place more markers, and so here's an example. There's gonna be like 2 people who die here. There's actually 3. There's one right before this clip. I play something over to the east, but then so I'm gonna drop a swordfish here as a marker and follow the next guy. So this guy, he's gonna die a little more to the west. Although I'm not really sure why he's running to the west when single is south. I think he could have made it, or he dies a little more to the west, I think, but. Yeah, I have no idea why he ran west. He could have easily made it to single, but oh well. So I know he died there, so I quickly dropped something and we'll come back to it. Whereas I don't think other people actually do that. I think they just like, okay, I'll stand on this one spot. But I think the markers really help, because you can just like psych people out, like stand 2 steps to the west, and then when it's about to show up, you run back to the real spot and then loot it there and free stuff. So I pretty much got a lot of rune helms, because I'm not going to get the rune plates, because the level 3s are going to get the rune plates. But then level 3s are really easy to kill. They're really good for looting, but they're really easy to kill. So they can't really keep anything beyond 3 items. Whereas for me, if I start getting attacked, I could take it all the way. I only die like once, which is pretty much okay. So what do you guys think? There's not that much interesting thing about like free-to-play multi-PvP, because it's kind of hard to highlight, because the whole thing is single target, whereas if I were to highlight a pay-to-play match, it would be pretty much barrage piles where one side gets obliterated. But for free-to-play, I'm not really sure what I should focus on videoing. Like, what do you guys think? But as always, thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.